Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Joe Davich. I'm the Executive Director for the Georgia Center for the Book. And on behalf of the Georgia Center for the Book, DeKalb County Public Library, and DeKalb Library Foundation, and the Decatur Arts Alliance, welcome to Book is Art, Volume 8, Infinity, our virtual gallery opening. We are, of course, coming to you live this evening from the periodicals room here at the Decatur Library, which, as you can see, has once again been transformed into the beautiful book gallery every year and is once again fully installed in our building. Although we've all been living through the pandemic and trying as best we can to normalize things as much as possible, that's why we chose to come to you and into your home this evening with our gallery show, to let you peek into what we've been doing these past few months, continuing all of our virtual programming and working with organizations throughout Decatur and Georgia. Of course, we bottoms, and can I put myself on mute so they can't hear me snore in case I fall asleep? Of course, more formal events like this evening's prompt us to ask questions like, where did I put my dress shoes, and I can't believe I can't find my blue suit pants. One of those questions I did manage to answer this evening, and I am wearing dress shoes. However, I really don't know where I put my suit pants sometime back in March. But they may turn up, they may not turn up. So we'd like to thank a few people this evening before we start our virtual tour. Of course, we'd like to thank the Decatur Arts Alliance, who created this event so many years ago. We'd also like to thank the DeKalb County Public Library and the DeKalb Library Foundation for allowing us to tear apart the periodicals room and turn it into the beautiful gallery that you see this evening. I would also like to thank those people like Angie Macon, the director of the Decatur Arts Alliance, Dot Moy, who is the jury coordinator for The Book is Art, Lockie McDonald, who is the registrar, and the rest of the planning committee, Andrew Hewitt, Cynthia Lawless, Gina Reynoso, and Allie Wright. We would also like to thank our jurors who hail from several states all across the country. Joe Sanders, Bex Caswell-Olson, and Ann Kresge. Tonight you will of course see 36 works, and they come from so many places. Here in the United States, like California, Washington, New Hampshire, and several from right here in our home state of Georgia. There are also entries in this exhibit from England, Scotland, and Canada. I'm going to go ahead and issue also a blanket apology to all of you for any mispronunciations of art titles and names. Unfortunately, when we started recording this video, I realized that we hadn't checked that. So I tried my best with my French pronunciations and my Spanish pronunciations, but some things may have slipped through the cracks this year. But we will make sure that we correct it for next year. Although we still hope that we will invite you into our building to debut the exhibit next year, we do know that these virtual components will be part of our programming for a long time to come, because they truly expand what we're doing as a library and an arts organization and allow so many people to view the wonderful works and be inspired by the things that are in this room this evening. If you would like to see a full catalog of the show, you can go to decaturartsalliance.org/book-as-art and see the full catalog of the program this evening. We would also like to thank Lampy Farley, who designed all of the lovely social media slides and mastheads that you see on Instagram, on Facebook. Although there aren't banners hanging out in front of the Decatur Library because our building is closed, they were still working very hard to update the website and making sure that all of the promotions were consistent across all platforms. We would also like to remind you that many of the works you're seeing tonight are on consignment through the Decatur Arts Alliance, and that a percentage of the sales help the Decatur Arts Alliance to continue its wonderful mission throughout our great city. I'd also like to draw your attention to many of the programming that we've created specifically for Book is Art Infinity. Throughout the month of September, every Tuesday at noon, we will debut on the Georgia Center for the Book YouTube channel short videos created by the artists about their work. And then in October, we will feature Zoom talks with the artists to further discuss their work, chat with other artists who have books in this exhibition, and to take questions from you all, very much like our White Glove Nights. We also will include fuller videos not included in the virtual gallery tour this evening. The tour, of course, is about 30 minutes, and we will take you from work to work. But in the future, we will do shorter videos focusing on each individual piece in the show, and as a courtesy to you, they will, of course, not have my voice doing the reading above it. Some people find my dulcet tones comforting, but we feel that you should experience the art at home and in quiet. Right now, I would like to, of course, tell you the winners of this year's exhibition. So our three judges came together, and after many calls, they picked a first, second, third place and honorable mention from the 36 works you see here this evening. First place was awarded to Sarah Bryant for her book, Radiant Republic. Second place went to Sandy Washer James for Use It or Lose It. Third place is Peggy Johnston for Scorpius Anomalous. And our honorable mention this year goes to Anya Gilmore for Mental Gymnastics. Congratulations to the winners, and congratulations to all of the artists that submitted work. You're truly beautiful and inspirational, and we wouldn't have a gallery show without your participation. I would also like to mention that we are still missing one book due to all the shipping issues that we've encountered during the pandemic, but a few came in under the wire, so we are hoping to have that book installed in the gallery shortly for you and have a video posted. But right now, I would like you to sit back, get comfortable, make sure a tasty beverage is within arm's reach, and enjoy Book is Art, Volume 8, Infinity.
The Book as Art, Volume 8, Infinity. Held in the hand, a book can be a source of stability in unsettled times. Tactile and olfactory, the black and white pages conjure emotions and images that endure longer than the flickering light on small screens. From the tablet to folio, papyrus to scroll, song to psalm, all are created as a concept that becomes thought, becomes word, becomes book, becomes sculpture. These objects, in an increasingly digital world, stubbornly survive. The objects in this exhibition will interpret the concept of the book and invite the viewer to look beyond the printed page where ideas, words, and symbols are transformed and are transfigurative. They are expressive, expansive, and iconic. They have become form, and they are infinite. Omidged by Rhiannon Skye Tafoya of Lawrence, Kansas. Omidged features letterpress printing, hand-woven paper, and a handmade paper cover. Omidged was made to honor the artist's grandmother, Martha Reed Bark, as well as her unborn child, Kyler Bark Swimmer. Omidged is a demonstration of love and remembrance, wherein each technical process portrays strength and delicacy, allowing the artist to communicate a contemporary indigenous voice with deep influences from her traditional grandmother. Ex Libris by Amy Broderick of Jupiter, Florida. Amy Broderick's work explores our human quest to use record keeping, especially in its material form as pages and files, to bring the wilds of the universe into order, to describe or name them into submission. This book is made by hand-cut, reclaimed index cards. Encyclopedia Britannica by Margaret Whiting of Waterloo, Iowa. Encyclopedia Britannica is made of recycled encyclopedia pages and cotton cord. Pages of an old Encyclopedia Britannica were rolled and bound into cylindrical forms for this piece. Illustrations of insects, animals, and plants are displayed. The world is facing a mass extinction of species. We must work within the cycles of nature to protect all species on the planet. Change by Adele Sanborn of Boscawen, New Hampshire. Changed is a mixed media book. Adele Sanborn created mixed media art with text that reflects the way she sees the world, a complex, ever-changing combination of textures, colors, movements, and stories, imbued with spirit, wonder, and discovery. Spring Swan by Dirk Hagner of San Juan Capistrano, California. This is a screen-printed book laid in a flat case. This book is a fold-up design that is commonly used in a wine case and which serves as a bottle separator. The book covers are foldable so that they become the display stand for the book. 5 interlocking cut shapes become a dimensional display made from duplex board, each panel carrying a line from Charles Bukowski's poem, Spring Swan. Entangle Surface and Edge by Jan Johnston of Lowell, Massachusetts, and Laura Donkers of the Outer Hebrides, Scotland. This unique artist's book is a cloth-covered hardbound featuring film stills on OHP transparency film, frottage on fruit tissue, text and digital images laser jet printed on vellum and heavy stock. For this piece, the collaborative design and production are by Jan Johnston and Laura Donkers, with Allie Manning of Vintage Page Designs. Borrowing leaves out of nature's book, Laura Donkers and Jan Johnston retell a narrative using touch to unfold manner and meaning, bringing poetic insights on nature, culture, and ethics. The Radiant Republic by Sarah Bryant of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Radiant Republic is letterpress, linoleum and polymer plates, papers, arches, text, and handmade Belgian flax from the Morgan Conservatory. The box is laser-cut birch plywood, cast cement, and glass. The Radiant Republic is an artist book about ethics, urban planning, and the flawed impulse to design a perfect society. The text at the core of the project is a city-building narrative comprised entirely of language excerpted from Plato's Republic, circa 380, and Le Corbusier's The Radiant City, 1933. Best Laid Plans by Katie Garth of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This artist's book is rethograph printed and wire bound. Best Laid Plans is an artist's book that explores domestic routines as coping mechanisms. It empathizes with the impulse for escapism while also examining what is lost by withdrawing into oneself. Caravan by Valerie Aranda of Milledgeville, Georgia. Caravan is a book on paper. Valerie Aranda's art functions as a meditation, reflection, and critique on the collective and individual human experience. She reflects on what our relationship is to the environment and how we value it. A Valentine for Gilgamesh by Daniel Vene of Mount Rainier, Maryland. A Valentine for Gilgamesh features pen and ink with gouache on handmade paper. A Valentine for Gilgamesh is a reflection on friendship and love inspired by mankind's oldest recorded story. The book form is a square that opens into an origami structure. St. Pauli, Patron Saint of the Reeperbahn, by Stephen Costell of Colchester, Vermont. This artist's book is handmade paper from textile waste, pigmented pulp, and printed. Stephen Costell's work examines the relationship between material and visual elements through the lens of sampling and remixing cultural artifacts to construct new context between making and meaning. Bound Together by Tennille Schuster of Macon, Georgia. This book is letterpress on Reeves BFK paper, hand marbled paper, and custom designed enclosure. Created in an edition of 10 and housed in a custom designed enclosure, Bound Together is printed on heavyweight Reeves BFK paper using handset Caslon metal type on Vandercook 4 proof press. The marbled paper pages were created with ink and the artist's breath and feature text excerpted from The Log from the Sea of Cortez by John Steinbeck. Maximum Security by Deborah Disman of Santa Monica, California. This artist's book is a sculpture. Deborah Disman's work moves progressively into conceptual realms where labor, materiality, and a passion for the haptic become powerful motivators and themes. Float by Colleen Lawrence of Jacksonville, North Carolina. This book is handmade paper and embedding. Float is a book comprised of scraps, of offcuts and overruns. Elements from different projects are brought together and embedded in the new sheets, creating new work made of old work. Using pieces of old projects signals a world outside this book, and also the fluidity of language. Use It or Lose It by Sandy Washer James of Langley, Washington. 2020 is the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. Obtaining the right to vote was a long, hard struggle, and if we do not use that right, we could lose it. Thus the title, Use It or Lose It. The Surety of Snow by Jan Dove of Port Angeles, Washington. This artist's book is pigment printed on watercolor paper. As the glaciers that once seemed to have been here forever now melt away, childhood memories of snow and the promise of forever water fill this book. Prairie by Deborah Disman of Santa Monica, California. This book is also a sculpture. Deborah Disman works in the form of the book, in forms inspired by the book, and in unique sculptural media of her own devising, utilizing the book as structure. Boat Stories by Stephanie Russ and Isabelle Fleurlaine of Outremont, Quebec, Canada. Boat Stories is made of digital inkjet with screen print and ceramic vessels. Boat Stories is a collaborative project with Isabelle Fleurlaine and Stephanie Russ. With this latest project, they wanted to further their collaborative approach and reached out to others for the stories that in some way related to travels and life on water. This resulted in the creation of 5 books nestled in the ceramic vessel that resembles a barnacle. Randomly John Cage by Anya Gilmore of Lexington, Massachusetts. This book is inkjet printing on Mohawk paper, 40-pound cover paper, letterpress, and blind embossing. Every something is an echo of nothing. This loose leaf book is an origami folded cover inspired by John Cage. 32 by F by Nicole Polonsky of London, England. This flipbook is screen-printed papers and card, book cloth, and laser-cut vinyl. This limited edition book uses the Benesch movement notation to depict the renowned 32 fleurs alternants as they appear in the coda of Act 3, Pas de Deux, from Pepita and Ivanov's Swan Lake. Into the Night by Anna Embry of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This artist's book is pierced paper cased binding, artist indigo dyed handmade paper text block, and a case covered in handmade paper. Anna Embry has a strong interest in the physical and material aspects of book structures. She has collaborated with printers and papermakers on limited edition handmade books and has exhibited her work widely. Living Monuments by Chris Revell of Atlanta, Georgia. This book is resin, ink on paper. Living Monuments questions the production and dissemination of history. Appropriating the original Jim Crow era schoolbooks, the works are transparent resin casts of the books. The original words of the books have been hidden, while the words and writing of James Baldwin have been memorialized by the casing of the book. Living Monuments uses the schoolbook as a battleground where education, history, and power are challenged. Where by Colleen Lawrence of Jacksonville, North Carolina. This book is handmade paper, Reeves paper, and letterpress printing. Where is an accordion comprised of abstract narrative maps and poems. The maps consider presence in various forms, and the grooves we each wear physically and mentally through travel and repetition. The Ground She Once Stood by Maria Patino of Miami, Florida. This book is ink, acrylic paint, paper collage, found objects on textile. Maria Patino's artwork is intuitive, guided by illusions, narratives, and references. She is interested in the aesthetic of color, texture, and form, and its potential to communicate universal messages of the past and present. The Unmade Room by Christian Finnick of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This book is accordion-bound, screen and letterpress printed on folding board. The Unmade Room depicts a consecutive series of spaces where each moment merges with and affects the next. The folding perspectives create movement and depth, forming layered compositions with a wide variety of spatial conditions. Another Literary Dynasty, number 2, by Christian Burchard of Ashland, Oregon. In this book series, Christian Burchard worked mostly with a bandsaw. The sculptures are bleached, sandblasted, and textured. They are cut from green blocks of wet mandrake root and burl. He used a microwave to help the wood dry evenly. Each book's form is a direct result of the underlying grain, structure, and tension, and is always unique. Scorpius Anomalous by Peggy Johnston of Des Moines, Iowa. This work is created with paper, thread, plastic, paint, glue, beads, and pins. Peggy Johnston thinks of herself as a sculptor using bookbinding techniques. The mechanics and engineering involved in book structures fascinate her. Often, she will exaggerate elements of the book design in creating these sculptural pieces. Proverbs by Anna Embry of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This artist's book features letterpress printed cards on Stonehenge paper and ink in letterpress printed wrapper, French paper and ink. This book is a collaboration between A. Yamalis Brito Jorge, director of the Taller Experimental de Gráfica in Havana, Cuba, and faculty from the University of Alabama MFA Book Arts program. Yamilis Brito Jorge's prints for this book are inspired by proverbs deeply rooted in Cuban culture. Brito Jorge has long found inspiration in popular language, including proverbs, political speech, and advertising slogans. Dreyfus Tripod, San Zu Wu, by Dirk Hagner of San Juan Capistrano, California. This is a screen-printed accordion fold book featuring the poem The Crow by Frank Bowles. Printmaking and books share the same birth mother. Artists' books beautifully showcase hand-printed images, types enrich the work graphically. Hagner believes that books substantially aid him as a printmaker, providing context, imparting rhythm, and providing tangible, dimensional experiences. Traditional and current methods of image bookmaking thus link our past to contemporary artistic relevance. Midnight in the Garden of Evil by Katie DeLay of Ottawa Hills, Ohio. This book is colored pencil on black Stonehenge paper. The text is digitally printed, and the covers are black moire black cloth. Midnight in the Garden of Evil is Katie DeLay's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. When she first saw the images of the coronavirus, she thought they looked like flowers. Menacing, evil, malevolent flowers. Pleated Tidings by Dirk Hagner of San Juan Capistrano, California. This book is a vertical accordion featuring woodcut in 3 colors with letterpress text on rag paper. It is bound in paper-covered boards with a twine wrap enclosure. This vertical accordion book features a quote from William Butler Yeats, "I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, for you tread on my dreams." The back of this piece folds into a horizontal triangle that acts like a stand when the book is pinned through an aligned eyelet hole on the wall, its intended way of display. Concrete Uncertainty by Colleen Lawrence of Jacksonville, North Carolina. This book is handmade paper and letterpress printing. Colleen Lawrence is interested in spurring reflection and conversation about the human impact on both built and natural environments with a long view of time. Personal narrative is woven into larger issues using papermaking, calligraphy, letterpress printing, writing, and bookbinding. Airborne, an artist's book by Anne Kresge of Salem, Oregon, an invitational piece. This book is relief etching, collograph, chine collé, letterpress, photography, Japanese kozo, and a clamshell box. Inspired by the artist's visit to China and Japan, Airborne responds to traditional forms in personal ways. A collaboration with poet Melinda Kennedy, text and imagery lyrically describe the 5 elements of our world. Mental Gymnastics by Anya Gilmore of Lexington, Massachusetts. This accordion book features 40-pound cover paper and digital text. A survey of incoming information and cumulative data documenting 1 month, March 6th through April 6th of 2020, of the COVID-19 pandemic, global lockdown, introduction to new vocabulary, social changing behavior, and growing uncertainty. Text written in 2 languages, both English and Polish. The Dream by Julie Fordham of Norcross, Georgia. This book features acrylic and thread on an accordion-bound moleskin journal. Julie Fordham's work is based on personal narrative, a female perspective on relationships and the ability and inability to make connections. Many of her pieces share a muse in her daughter. Sonata B-Moll, Opus 35, No. 2, Grave Allegro, by Anya Gilmore of Lexington, Massachusetts. This artist's book installation is Japanese kozo, handmade paper, copper spheres, Yasumoto ink, and cotton thread. In honor of the 63 days heroic struggle to liberate Warsaw from the German occupation during the Warsaw Uprising, August 1st, 1944 through October 2nd, 1944, in World War II. Tempo Rubato collection explores emotional connections of living in two countries and examines the concept of nationality and duality.
Thank you all so very much for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoyed seeing the works that are part of Book is Art, Volume 8, Infinity. Once again, if you would like to purchase any of the works that are on consignment, please go to DecaturArtsAlliance.org to find out how you can do so. We also encourage you, like always, to support your local libraries, independent bookstores, especially Black independent bookstores and Black-owned businesses. If you have a glass nearby, please raise it now to our winners, Radiant Republic, Use It or Lose It, Scorpius, Anomalous, and Mental Gymnastics. Cheers to the winners and to you all. Thank you so very much for joining us, and we hope to see you all very, very soon back at the library. Have a wonderful evening and good night.